All right, guys, how's everyone doing today? As I always like to say, I hope everyone is enjoying their day so far. I know we're having a great day here at WMAP. We have Casey over in Kentucky, so we hope his trip is going well, and he's going to do some live shows over there, so you guys will get to hear that here. But today, I have a great guest with us. It's a woman I've had on the show a few times now, and I'm really excited to speak with her, as I always am. I have Karen Chaston, and I want to give you guys her websites before we get going, which are livelovebydesign.com and karenchaston.com.au. So, guys, you can head over there and get some more information. But let's get her up here. Hey, Karen, how are you doing?
Hi, Kellie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being on the show today, as always.
Oh, my pleasure. I love chatting with you.
Yes, I love chatting with you as well. So let's just jump right into it. So, we've talked about, so many different things here on the show. And today we're going to really kind of dive into how you help people and relationships. So let's just start. If you maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about really how you get into that and how you got into that.
Okay, so the thing that I'm a life coach. And a lot of people say, what is a life coach? Like, I understand what a business coach is and I understand what a mentor is, but what is a life coach? So what I actually do is I look at every single area of your life and we design how you can create your perfect life by embracing all areas of your life. Now, most people don't even realize that they have 9 areas of their life. They are totally focused on, say, 1 or 2, maybe their career, maybe their wealth creation, and a little bit of relationships with family, and you know what? And it's not actually fulfilling them because most of the time they've forgotten to look after the most important person in their life, and that is themselves. So many times we're so busy looking about outside of ourselves, we forget to look within.
That's true. And why do you think that happens? Why do you think we forget to, realize that we have to help ourselves?
Well, it actually comes back to when we are born and our first 7 years. So from the time we are born, we actually remember where we came from. We're actually still connected to our guides, our angels, ourselves, our intuition. And as we go through life, and especially our schooling, we are told to look outside of ourselves. If we look within, if we're actually connected to who we are, we're being selfish. We're, putting ourselves first. And our schooling actually makes us go into competition with other people to actually, the only way we can achieve success in life is to become this independent person who's not even connected to anyone else. It's all about you're in survival and there's not enough for everyone. If you have it, or someone else can't have it. And does that make sense?
Yes, no, it does make sense.
Yeah, so that in itself is what actually sets us up to be in competition, to go, well, it's me or no one else. And that's not what life's meant to be about. It's actually meant to be a giver's gain philosophy, as in the more I give, the more I will receive. And a lot of people can't even receive. But you think about it, some people can't even receive a compliment.
No, and it's interesting that you chose that to bring up, because I was interviewing a woman today, this really wonderful woman, and her and I both share that issue about how it's very hard for us to accept compliments.
Which is ridiculous, isn't it?
It is absolutely ridiculous, yes.
But it's actually quite rude as well, because you think about it, if someone's taken the time to say, oh my God, that dress you're wearing looks amazing on you, and you go, oh, yeah, this old thing, or, yeah, I still need to lose a couple of pounds, or, you know what I mean? You're, like, deflecting it back. So it's actually quite rude because the person has actually shared what they think and how they feel about the way you look, and you've just deflected it. So, you know what I mean? It really is rude.
It does
Because,
come off rude, and it's interesting too because I don't think I really ever thought about it that way because I'm so, I get so caught up in my own feelings about, yes, I appreciate what they're saying, but I don't agree with them, or, it's hard for me to appreciate, but yes, I didn't realize that it's true. It is very rude.
yes, and if people continually get rejected for what they're saying, well, they'll stop saying it to you. So why would anyone compliment you if all they're going to do is hear about how you still want to lose a couple of pounds? It's like, yeah, sure, we all probably want to lose a couple of pounds. But at the end of the day, it takes nothing for you to say thank you.
Yes.
And in your head you can go, I disagree, but you know what? The fact you actually see something in me that I don't see in myself, maybe I need to look more at myself.
That's very true. That's very true. And I know that is something that is hard for me to do is to, realize of why I can't take those compliments.
Yeah, and it will always come back to something that's happened in your life when you were younger. Maybe you did take a compliment really well and someone said, don't be a big head. Or maybe you spoke about how someone told you how great you looked and your parents not realising what they were doing and saying, yeah, but, don't be too full of yourself. You're this. So they were thinking they were doing the right thing, but then maybe they sort of just didn't give you the self-confidence for you to actually go, thank you. I can see what you mean.
That definitely is true, and I can agree.
Yeah, exactly. So what I do is I help people to have a look at from a different perspective, to actually look at their life and actually go, well, this is where I am now, but this is where I'd like to be. Because most people don't take the time to figure out where they want to be, who they want to be, how they want to feel. And when you start to actually realize all of these things and even how you want to talk to yourself. Now, let's face it, a lot of the time, the way we can talk to ourselves, seriously, if we spoke to any of our friends that way, I don't think we'd be friends for all that long, would we?
No, definitely not.
Yes. So that's what I do. I help people to actually figure out where they want to be, who they want to be, and then we design it. Then we figure out where they are now and what needs to happen for us to close that gap, to bring it down to everything. And that's the best part about it, is figuring out the action steps. And more often than not, there's not that many action steps that need to happen. It's just that we haven't taken the time to actually sit down and design our life. And that's what I love doing. I love seeing how quickly people actually start to live their dream life. And it's really easy to do. But the thing is, people just are busy being busy, not realising that they can actually choose who they want to be. They don't have to be the person they are today. They don't have to be continually complaining about their life. And continually going, oh, this happened to me, so therefore I can't do this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all BS. It really is BS.
Now, how would someone, I'm sure there's many ways, but what are some of the ways that someone may know that they need your services? Because I think people might be living their lives and not even realize that they need this help.
Exactly. And great question. Thank you, Kellie. The best thing is if you wake up every day and you are not excited about your day, and you're actually hitting the snooze button 3 or 4 times, and there is nothing exciting in your life, there's nothing really to look forward to, guess what? You need my help. And so many people are living that life, complaining about their job. And it's like, just leave. I can't leave. Why can't you leave? And just I ask the questions that they should be asking themselves. And most people are scared to ask these questions because then it's like, I'm actually going to be confronted with, do you know what? I'm not living the life that I came here to live. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy. A lot of my relationships are not going well. Now, relationships especially the one with yourself, is really, really important. But I'm going to talk about other relationships. Okay. And I'm going to talk about a scenario which I think we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that most of your listeners actually know that when I was 16, I was pregnant and I adopted my daughter out. Okay? And she is in my life, and she's been in my life for probably around 16, 17 years. And the relationship has been very up and down, because obviously both of us are carrying a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. She has obviously an abandonment issue. Mm-hmm. I obviously have a lot of shame and guilt and all these things that we've carried for all her life. Okay?
Yeah.
And obviously in the time, it was 1973 when I gave birth to her. So it was in a time of, you don't talk about this. You know, you have shamed the family. And let's be honest, right? I wasn't the only one having sex.
No.
Okay? There was a lot of people having sex at the same time. They just didn't fall pregnant. So there was a lot of, oh, my God, you are a bad girl and no one else in the world is a bad girl like you. Mm-hmm. Okay? So there was a lot of stuff that I've carried. But what came through recently was the fact that I never actually ever grieved her. I never was allowed to talk about her. I was, does that make sense? So I had all of this bottled up inside me, which I had to push down. And I honestly believe that I did the right thing at the time with the knowledge that I knew. I did the right thing for her. I thought I was giving her a better life.
Of course.
Okay? And of course, over time, I probably, knowing what I know now, I would probably choose differently. And understanding, the connection between a mother and a child, I would definitely choose differently. But at the time, with the knowledge that I had, and I made the right decision. And that's something that we both have to live with. But more importantly, we've come to an understanding that we can't change the past. Whether from the time she was born or through our relationships, we've both made mistakes and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we've actually done a ritual where we sat and spoke to each other and we got everything out. Everything.
That must have been so
every
helpful.
Emotion that we've felt, the way the things that we did wrong to each other, we got it all out. We then wrote it out in bullet points and we put it into a bowl and we burnt it.
Wow.
Okay. Now, how do you think that burning of all of that stuff, what do you think happened?
Well, I can think, I would I would like to say that it was so helpful that you were both able to let everything go and start new, but I know that's probably not correct. I'm sure it was...
Well, you are correct.
Oh, okay, because I could see it also being hard, but as well as cathartic.
Of course, but we both cried, we both got all of our emotion out, and it was literally this is where we start new. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's put all of this behind us. Let's understand how we've made each other feel, how we've hurt each other, how we've done everything that was not ideal for each other. But at the end of the day, we want a relationship. So in order to move forward, we need to draw a line in the sand. And we did that, which was quite a ritual way of doing it. And I wanted it to be a physical thing that we could actually see. Okay, we've got every single emotion into this. We are burning it and we're moving forward. Now, we're not going to forget about it, but we're not going to bring it up again, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that from now on we trust each other 100%, because trust is earned, right?
Of course.
And we've damaged the trust between each other. But to move forward, we have now designed the relationship that we both would like.
Wow.
So we now know who we want to be when we're around each other, how we want to be spoken to, how we want to connect with each other, whether it's by phone or physically, all those sort of things.
Yeah, definitely. And that's pretty amazing that something like that kind of, I want to call it a ritual or some kind of just just doing that has been able to be so helpful as in furthering your relationship.
It is. But and now you think about that. You think about how this would be for people who are maybe looking at a divorce, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying they'll come back together, but how great would it be, especially when they have children, to do a ritual like that, to actually put it all in and then just go, okay, we've done this to each other. We're not going to live together as man and wife, but how about we now design our next relationship out of respect for each other, because we did once love each other, but also out of respect for our children, so that our children can actually be around us without having to have angst about the fact that we are all going to be in the same room.
Wow. And it's so important, too, because in going through something as, as, I guess, intense and as big as a divorce, it's really hard to know where to go from there. And I think being able to put some things behind you as best you can is very important in order to move forward.
Exactly. And then there's a lot of hurt, because normally in divorce, there's probably more one person who is really angry and the other person is, I don't want to be in this relationship. Whereas the other person may be like, well, I would have been in this relationship if you hadn't have done that, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of hurt, and I understand it. But the sooner we actually look at, is this serving me by carrying this blame, this guilt, all of these emotions, is it really serving me? And am I being the person that I really want to be? Like, do I really want to have to carry around all this baggage?
Well, and I don't think it's healthy for anybody to have to carry around that baggage. And I know we all have it in one way or another, but when we carry more and more and more of it around, it just weighs us down and we're not able to move forward.
And not only does it weigh us down, it actually turns our cells into a diseased cell. And that is why we have so much illness in the world, why we have so many cancers. Breast cancer comes from a broken heart. It comes from you not loving yourself. It comes from you not being who you are. And, testicle cancer is on the rise as well. And it's on the rise because the feminine is starting to come more into themselves. Women are starting slowly to know who they want to be. And the men see it at the detriment of them, as opposed to going, no, let's have that beautiful yin and the yang, which is actually the earth and the universe coming together, because the earth is obviously the feminine and the universe is the masculine. So when you bring that masculine and feminine together, that's when you really, truly can be who you want to be. And we all have masculine and feminine in us. It doesn't matter what gender we are.
It's true. And I know that you have done a lot of research into how, I guess, our emotions and what we're going through can correlate with our health. Is that right?
Oh, totally. Totally. And I must admit, any time I hear a symptom that someone has, I always go to either a Louise Hay book or another great book that I have as well, which is all about sharing with you how every disease in our body comes back to some sort of emotion that we're carrying, something we haven't released. Because let's face it, energy, it can be just as an emotion is just energy stuck in motion, right?
Yes,
so we all feel things, but we can let them go through our body and out, right?
Yes.
And the sooner we understand that the way we're feeling has something to do with maybe the way you need to heal something. If someone says something to you and you react in a way, a negative way, it's not about getting angry at that person. It's more about you actually going inside and go, why did I have that reaction? What is it about that I need to heal, right? And more often than not, the other person isn't even aware that you are upset over something that they said. And the more you analyze it, the more you understand that, you know what, it actually has nothing to do with them. it comes back to something that maybe had happened 20, 30 years ago. And I'm pretty sure I've spoken about the book Radical Forgiveness. Have I spoken about that before?
I don't think you have, not with me.
Oh, wow. This is an amazing book. It came to me only about a month ago. And it was one of those books that as soon as you started reading it, you couldn't put it down. And I was away for a weekend. It was a long weekend, and we were away at a wedding. And I started reading it in the morning, and I was like, oh, I want to keep reading it. No, you're going to the wedding, sort of thing. But it was just, it's all about the concept of no one does anything to you. They do it for you. And more often than not, it's for you on a soul level, on a spiritual level. Because we're all here to grow on a soul level, okay? Mm-hmm. And so things will happen to us so we can understand the lesson and we can grow. And it's a great book. I highly recommend it to all of your listeners. It's called Radical Forgiveness. And you actually start to realize, oh, my God, you know, so sure, just say, for example, sure, my husband did cheat on me, right?
Yeah.
But why did he cheat on me? Why did I allow that to happen? And you might go, I didn't allow it to happen. Energetically, you did. And he was probably helping you to understand that you are a loving person. Maybe you thought you weren't worthy of love. So he's helping you to move through it and to see what happens. Okay? I'm not recommending to go and play up just because you think you're going to help someone. Yeah. But I'm actually saying, look at everything that is happening in your life. And why is it that you continually keep having the same relationship? The same bad boy keeps coming into your life? Because you haven't learned this. And these people are continually coming into your life so you can learn what you came here to learn. It's an interesting concept, and a lot of people may not get it, but just read it with an open mind, and then you'll be able to say, wow, this is true. Maybe I do need to grow on this level. And we are all loving. We are all beautiful. We are all amazing. But life sometimes takes that away from us. And that's why I love doing what I'm doing, because I help people to see from a different perspective.
Yes, and I think it's important as well because as the example you used before as having someone to cheat on you, I think a lot of times when we're wronged in any aspect of our life, we don't want to turn it around and look at what part we may have played in that because we don't want to believe that we could have played any part in it. We want to believe that these people are just inconsiderate and all of these bad things. And not to say that we're necessarily to blame when bad things happen to us, but it's always good to turn things around and look at ourselves.
Oh, totally. And that's like, for example, and I love the example of when you point a finger at someone, look back, you have three fingers pointing back at you. Yes. And it's really good to realize that because what you see in others, they are reflecting you. And it may be your shadow side. It may be a side that you don't like about yourself. And you're like, and that's why, you just so, oh my God, I can't believe that sort of thing. But we all are connected in so many ways. And we are all one. And I know it's hard to imagine that. But what you do see in others, you have in yourself. And from there you can actually go, okay, my life is about me healing. And I've said this many times. You are the only person you are going to spend your entire life with.
That is so true.
Start looking after yourself, but not from an ego perspective. More from the more I look after myself, the more I can look after others, the more I can assist others. And from that perspective, that's how you create your live, love, dream life. And that's what I love, is the fact that I totally wish I had this perspective when I was younger. Like, believe me, there would have been so many less fights. There would have been so many less times where I was trying to force my opinion onto someone else, which is absolutely ridiculous because there's an infinite number of ways of looking at anything. And for most opinions you have, and I'm pretty sure I should actually say for all opinions you have, there is just as many negatives to say it's right as there are positives to say it's right. So it could be wrong or right, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So why are you forcing your perspective, your opinion onto someone else who may be more spiritually grown, less spiritually grown, they may be more aware? You know, we don't know what we don't know. And that's what I love about living, is you will be learning till the day you die. And if you're not, what's the point of being here?
Now, when you started, learning all of these new things and learning all of these new techniques about, and just different ways about living life and just changing your perspective, how did your life change?
Oh, completely. Absolutely completely. Like, I've got some friends staying with me at the moment, and one of them has known me for 40 years. And just the way I do things, just the way I cook now. I cook healthy. I present differently. I'm more loving. I'm completely different. And, and my other lady who's here, who's only known me for a couple of years, she said, so what were you like before? And I explained, I said, well, first of all, I would never cook. I had no time to cook. Mm-hmm. I was too busy being busy. I was too busy being my professional CFO, and that took up like 90% of my life. And it's quite ridiculous because I was literally giving my life over to a company who, sure, they paid me well, but that was it, because they were quite happy when they merged with another company to say, well, thank you, bye. So why are you giving your life over and being stressed and being diseased and creating cancer cells in your body and all this sort of stress and emotion for someone who's quite easy to say, well, thank you, goodbye? And let's face it, everyone's replaceable.
Yes, I can definitely agree with you. And unless you put in that extra work to give yourself that worth, it's going to be very hard to move forward and live in that almost stagnant kind of lifestyle. Exactly.
And it's important for everyone to realize there's only one place that you are not replaceable, and that is in your life. Yeah. So are you living your best life? That is the question that everyone should ask each other. Steve Jobs said, if you wake up every morning and you are actually doing everything that you would want to do, if this was the last day of your life, you're living a perfect life. Now, how many people would say, if this was my last life, this is my last day on earth, this is what I'm going to do today?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's just what she does. And I mean, she's absolutely amazing. And I'm so lucky, Karen, that I've gotten to speak with you all of these times, because you just give the best advice and insight, and you're just, you really live by example. And I really appreciate that about you.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. And I must admit, I love doing what I'm doing because I honestly wish I had this information when I was younger, because it's just a beautiful way to live and love your life, which is why my business is called Live Love by Design.
And it's the perfect name for it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and all of the other days, Karen. I absolutely love speaking with you, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Kelly. Bye, everybody.
Bye.